Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Knoxville Raceway here in the grand state of Iowa for the first heat race of the night. We've got 4 heat races upon us and the last chance qualifier before getting to the main event, which is 70 laps long, the 8th race of the 2021 FBRL Napa Truck Series. And I have a guest in the booth for the first time this season. It's Sony Cup Series driver Charles Sandfer. We flew him over from New Hampshire Motor Speedway after that event got delayed a week. Charles, so glad you could make it here tonight for the heats and the last chance qualifier and maybe the main event.
Maybe we'll have to wait and see. It's a pleasure, though. Obviously, beats either watching from the stands or even watching from TV, several states away.
And yes, indeed, we've got 4 10-lap heats upon us, a 20-lap last chance qualifier, and of course the aforementioned 70-lap main event. Top 6 from each heat race will advance to the main, and then they go through what we call the dice roll, which is basically each driver that finishes first, second, third, etc. Those 4 drivers get lumped together into a dice roll, and whoever wins the dice roll first will start first in the main event. Second will start second, third, fourth. That's for all those drivers who win. Same thing goes for 5th to 8th, 9th to 12th, and so forth for the drivers that finish second and third, respectively. Last chance qualifier drivers, top 4 advance to the main event. That will fill 25th to 28th. And then 4 positions will be filled on owner points provisional. So really the only 4 drivers locked into the event here tonight are the top 4 in owners point standings: the 56 of Kyle Springer, the 15 of Luke Martin, the 70 of Gatlin Downey, and the 8 of Blake Warren. Charles, how do you feel like the dynamic will be that the top 30 in owners points doesn't lock you in compared to other races this season?
I think it'll be interesting to see for those that are probably in like that 15th through 30th range. Those are going to be the ones that I think you might see are not the safest. I feel like anyone top 15 should be able to make it in either through racing in or on points. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes.
Well, without further ado, Heat 1 is gearing up to go green. Let's get you trackside for the first command of the night.
Drivers, start your engines!
Pace truck will pull into the pit lane, getting ready for the first heat race. Kyle Springer on the front row with J.D. Martin. Springer locked into this race due to his owner's points. He has to start last due to failing preseason inspection for this truck, but at least he gets to start on the pole for this heat race.
And obviously for him, it'll be interesting. I was meaning gets the test run at least. He gets to see how his truck will handle in clean air.
Yes, indeed, because coming from 32nd compared to starting on the front row is a huge difference, especially here at Knoxville. Being in the pack, you definitely want to be on the bottom. So we see Kyle Vaughters making his way forward over teammate J.D. Martin. Now, turn 4 is the one area where you can see it right there with J.D. Martin, and I noticed it in practice. Turn 4 seems to be where the top side kind of has a bit of grip, but right there in turn 2, you can see J.D. just kind of gets tight, plows up the track, and that allows Butcher to make a crossover move and get to his inside for 4th.
Now, obviously, 34, 38, their teammates probably helping JD's decision there to kind of get out of it and just protect both trucks, actually.
Right now, Nelson Reeves is 6th in the final transfer spot. Reeves was recently announced to be returning to Crossroads Racing for 2022. Unknown if it'll be in the 10 or the 3 truck just yet, with Zachary Bilson leaving for Breeding Enterprises.
I said they were probably playing nice, but maybe not.
JD, looked like JD got really close to the 34 as Vaughters is going to go wide here in turn 4. That's in an effort to maybe get a run. AJ Jones took the lead away. Yes, indeed. AJ Jones took the lead away from Kyle Springer, I think a few laps ago. These heat races will just fly by before you know it. Already on lap 6, coming to 7 of 10, and don't look now, but here comes Ryan Butcher, and it looks like he has the fastest piece on track.
I would almost wonder if this was all deliberate on Springer's part there, knowing that he's going to have to start him back to see how his truck's also going to handle in traffic.
Butcher continuing to close up. Vaughters and JD still side by side. Andrew Rich has made it up to 6th, but now KT Larson is challenging for that final transfer spot. See the
Also have, that's the 13, not 33.
Yeah, that's correct. Those similar paint schemes really be playing tricks on your mind. That's Benny Watson there. He's going to lose a spot to TJ Smith. And now the dice roll goes into effect for the last chance qualifier as well. So even if you don't finish top 6 here in the heat, you're going to want to finish 7th or 8th at the very least, because it'll give you a much better starting position for that last chance qualifier. As now TJ Smith is challenging KT Larson for 6th.
TJ looking like he's got a solid truck if he could just get a good starting spot. Not exactly going to get the best starting spot if you're going to finish 6th though.
White flag in the air. Up ahead, it's AJ Jones for Young Motorsports in the race lead. Butcher gonna make
might have something.
Gonna make one last ditch effort there. Can't quite get there. AJ Jones wins Heat 1. And TJ Smith will be the 6th man in. Joining Kyle Vaughters, JD Martin, Springer, Butcher, and AJ Jones. These drivers will get their trucks back to the infield, and we will get you underway with heat number 2. Getting set for heat number 2, it'll be Luke Martin and Tyler Black on the front row, Ryan Dagby, Larry Hagan, row 2, with Huck Davis and Alexa Lushon in row number 3. Who will join the 6 drivers from heat 1 into the main event? Green flag is out. We're about to find out.
Solid start there for Luke Martin. What is his favorite scheme that they've run so far this season?
Yeah, Luke has found a lot of success since switching over to the Milwaukee scheme, looking to be the first driver in FBRL history to win 4 races in a row. Oh no, wait, that would have been if he won at Richmond. My mistake. So looking to get his 4th win of the season, I should say. Hell, man, look at Ryan Dagby really closing up there in 2nd, and Huck Davis is looking to pass Tyler Black for 3rd, as it is a mess behind them. Look at that, Stuart Gratton in the 0 for CM Racing, trying to make his first race of the season. He's 3 wide there with Roberto Crown Jr. and Alex Lucian. By the way, forgot to mention it, after their horrific crashes at Richmond, Crown Jr. and Butcher were cleared to return to the track this weekend. They are both in tip-top condition after taking a week off. And Charles, I know you know it's never fun taking those heavy impacts.
Oh no, I've definitely experienced my fair share. I've had to sit out a few weeks. It's never fun. Thankfully for those, for both Butcher and Crown, they didn't have to sit out any races here. Obviously, Butcher had to sit out New Hampshire. Wow, I can speak.
Yes, and yeah, so New Hampshire, right, would originally have been last weekend. Butcher would have had to sit it out, and then it got pushed to this weekend, and now he can't race anyway because the different location rule. You can't race, when the series are at different locations. So tough break for Butcher, losing out to New Hampshire there either way. But showing good speed there in the first heat, he was. Roberto so far looks like is struggling here in his heat. We really get to talk about the backmarker drivers in Heat 1. But right here you see Eric Monaco in the 37 and a new driver in the 87 for Standards Performance Auto Racing. That is Major Robinson, trying to make his Napa Truck Series debut here this weekend. Cement Oskin out from the team and without a ride after poor efforts in the first 7 races of the season.
And that's never fun. Obviously, it's been a tough situation for all of the Sanders team there, with the 81 even not being where I think they would want it to be. But obviously, right now, trying to. Looks like he just lost after 6. Sorry.
Yeah, he just lost 6 to Alexa Lushon, but he's right there in pretty good position. If he were to finish 7th, that would stick him in the top 4 for the last chance qualifier. Stuart Grattan in 8th place right now. Crown Jr. in 9th. Christopher Jones is struggling here. I mean, AJ Jones' teammate just won the first heat race, and now in a very similar truck, performance-wise, he is struggling in 10th. But no contest, Luke Martin wins heat number 2. Ryan Dagby, Tyler Black, Larry Hagan, Huck Davis, and Alexa Lucian will advance to the main event. That's 2 heat races down and 2 heat races to go. Let's take a little quick break here and get you guys to heat number 3. It's time for heat number 3. Cody Goforth, Malik Nevins, front row. Ricky Freeman Jr., Aiden Smith, row 2. Downey Carmona, row 3. This is Carmona's last scheduled Napa Truck Series race for a while. It was recently announced this week that she will be driving for Flipside in the Hardee's National Series, replacing Carter Friesen. It has yet to be announced who will be replacing her in that truck.
Solid opportunity for Carmona, obviously. I'm looking forward to kind of seeing how she can do and how it'll help her for next season as she comes back to Napa Trucks full time.
Yes, indeed. Almost forgot to mention, with the announcement of Mercedes coming down to the Napa Truck Series for 2022, Carmona and Chastain, Francois Chastain that is, re-signed with Flipside to drive trucks next year. And how about this? Ricky Freeman Jr. took the lead for a quick second over Goforth, and now Downey is going to try and take the lead as they are about 3 wide, maybe a little, almost a 4 wide there. I think that's the most wild moment we've seen so far in the heat races, Charles.
I think so. There looked like there was maybe a little bit of contact between the 84 and 33. Just had to go in the right direction at least, so all good.
I want to talk about practice. Everybody had practice with their respective heat drivers, rosters that is. Fastest in Heat 1 practice was Ryan Butcher. Fastest in Heat 2 was Luke Martin. Fastest in this Heat 3 bunch was this man in the 35, Malik Nevins. And I'm getting a little bit of Richmond deja vu right now with Downey in the lead and Nevins in second.
Just a tad bit. Obviously, both drivers took advantage of what the circumstances there were at Richmond. Solid runs for both of them.
Downey slipped up in turn 4. That opens the door for Malik Nevins into turn 1.
And looks like Nevins going to be able to get the lead here off turn number 2. So the U-Haul Dodge up to the lead.
And Gatlin, I don't know what Gatlin's feeling there. I know it's just the heat, but there's got to be some kind of mixed reaction to being passed by your own truck on track.
That is something I can at least say I've not had the pleasure of experiencing. I don't know how I'd feel if I was ever passed by an S3 car. Granted, Henry's the one that does all that operation, but still.
Coming to 3 to go in this heat. The other GDI truck, Dewey Schramm the 3rd in 4th. Ricky Freeman Jr. 5th, Carmona in 6th. As Michaels and Ian Brandt racing side by side. There's the 42 of Herschel Alonso. Now this is Coyote Autosport, rebranded from Herschel Alonso's team after his team was sold. They have acquired a used Texan Motorsports truck and are running under the RTX engine program. And I mean, it definitely looks faster than it did in all those go or go home qualifying sessions. He's out racing Aiden Smith, who's driving for Shapen Yaka Racing, as there's the white flag. Meanwhile, Wyatt Quayle in the 66 for Burns suffering at the back, as it looks like Malik Nevins off of turn 4 will be your Heat 3 winner. Downey 2nd, Goforth, Schramm, Ricky Freeman Jr., and Carmona the top 6, as Ian Brandt and Brett Houck get 7th and 8th. They are the drivers most likely to have a good chance in the last chance qualifier. Let's get you guys to the final heat race of the night. It's time for the final heat race of the night. Sebastian Kukulon, Blake Warren, Jordan Presto, Francois Chastain, Griffin Labo McDermott in the K-Lab truck. I wonder what Corey Taylor thinks of those anime girls on the trunk. And Zachary Bilson to his outside. That pink truck really stands out, eh, Charles, as we are green flag racing in heat number 4.
It certainly does. There's probably some things that could be said as well, but that would get me probably fired, so just not saying.
Oh, yes, indeed. Let's be G-rated here on this channel, though. The Sony Cup Series commentator kind of lost his mind back at Richmond a few weeks ago, but we'll try not to talk about that. You know, it's kind of a stain on the month of May. Anyway, Sebastian Kukulon, fastest in his heat practice. He's currently leading this thing. Presto in second. Griffin Label McDermott looking to get third from Blake Warren. As Zachary DeLello has made it up to 5th place, I believe, now over Francois Chastain. Now, DeLello was on probation for a month following actions at Willow Springs. Actually, I think it was 2 months. That probation was up following Richmond, so he is a free man. But FBRL officials, of course, still going to keep tabs on any reckless driving he commits during the rest of the year. But he is up to 5th place. He has kept his nose pretty clean since the Willow Springs deal. Chastain in 6th, Chase Dunbar running in 7th, Bilson 8th. There's Brandon Morris running the 89. Then you see Phil Parker in the 69. Now, we haven't seen the 69 truck on track because he hasn't made a race yet. But we didn't get to see Bo DeCameron there in heat number 1. We'll try to go over all the back markers in the last chance qualifier. But right now, Parker just a position ahead of Mitchell Collins. And worth mentioning, this is the one heat with 11 trucks. The other 3 heats had 12 trucks.
And obviously for all the back markers, good track time just for all of them anyway, because most of them are trucks that have struggled to make even just one race. So.
Yes, indeed. And I mean, even if they don't make the race, it's still 30 laps of track time for them, along with practice time at that. You know, they go or go home happens first. Practice comes second. So those teams don't get practice even, and everybody got 30 minutes here on this racetrack before these heat races. So those teams will definitely gain at least some kind of knowledge for the next short track race, which I believe, to my recollection, is Memphis, which is the first race back from the International Tour. No, wait, Memphis would be the second race back from the International Tour. First race back would have been Dodge Motordrome, but that has been axed from the schedule. Not known yet what will replace it. That is still about 2 months away.
And obviously, NTS officials going to take their time and make sure that they have the proper track and replacement. So.
Well, they did a good job with a hot seat decision to get Watkins Glen replacing Pensacola Road Course. 2 months, I'm pretty sure they'll make the right call, as Sebastian Kukulon will win heat number 4. Presto second, Griffin Label McDermott third, Blake Warren fourth. DeLello will come home. Wow, DeLello will just barely edge out Francois Chastain for 5th. Let's take a look at this margin here. Oh man, that is so close, Charles. Just take a look at that.
If we could get a finish like that for the win, that would be perfect.
I'm hearing, since our ticker here doesn't show it, I'm hearing that the margin here was 3/1000ths of a second. That is probably about as close as you'll ever get on a dirt track. And I mean, this didn't even matter. If this was for 6th place, I'd be like, it matters a lot. But this was for 5th, so all this really did was put DeLello in the next box for the dice roll for where he will start in the main event. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, I'm sure DeLello and Chastain are both pleased that that wasn't for the transfer spots. So they both get a chance to race at this.
Yes, indeed. So 7th was Bilson, 8th Chase Dunbar. And with that, we'll take another quick break, and we'll be back for the 20-lap last chance qualifier. Getting ready to go racing for the last chance qualifier. Winning the dice roll out of the 7th place finishers was Bob Burns. Bilson will start second. KT Larson third, and Ian Brandt fourth. Chase Dunbar, and I believe that is Benny Watson in row 3. Stuart Gratton, Brett Houck, row 4, with Roberto Crown Jr. and Andrew Rich in row 5. Again, it looks like the bottom is the best place to be. Charles, what do you think here? Who's got the best shot on the inside line?
I think I would, if I had to choose one driver, I'd probably go with KT Larson. She's got the best equipment out of there on the inside line. So I'd go with her as the chance to win it.
Pace struck down the pit lane. We do have caution flags if we need them here for the last chance qualifier. That was something we were not going to do in the heat races. Thankfully, nobody crashed. That would have been a pretty bad safety hazard. But 20 laps of action here, a lot more time to make up ground if you're starting in the back.
A solid start for Bob Burns. I won't lie, I did not expect him to get that good of a start.
And with where the 81 team is in the owner's points, they will likely need to finish top 4 here to advance to the main event. KT Larson in the 4. That 4 team is the highest out of all the teams that didn't advance through the heat, so that truck is in no matter what, but they definitely want to start as high as possible here since it's 25th or worse.
And obviously any spots that you can gain through LCQ are going to be helpful spots.
Brett Houck got a little loose there under pressure from Christopher Jones. How about Roberto Crown Jr. up to 4th? As Dunbar is going to challenge KT Larson for 2nd. Caesar Autosport getting some support from Joseph Strigley Racing. And it seems to be paying off here right now for Chase Dunbar.
Looking solid. Might have a shot at winning this if he's not too careful.
Already on lap 5 of 20. Looking at the back of the field, there's Boda Cameron. Brandon Morris, Hergel Alonso there. Aiden Smith suffering. That 05 truck is very good in the points. We believe he should be all set. Tenna Nelson Reeves is top 30 in the standings coming into this weekend. Depending who finishes in the top 4 will determine whether he makes it in on points or not, as he's going to get put 3 wide with Smith and Monaco. Don't have a lot of camera angles to go off of here at Knoxville with the geometry of the racetrack and where there are stands and where there are not.
Got a teammate battle just up the road there.
That's Joshua Michaels and Mitchell Carter. The 22 is pretty high in owner points following good finishes from Kyle Collins and Bradley Bishop Jr. in 2 separate races this year. Got top 10 results for that 22 team. Top 10 goes a long way with how points are handed out. Michaels, though, in 8th. Christopher Jones, 7th. As Roberto Crown Jr. will just barely clear Bob Burns for 2nd, as Dunbar took the lead a few laps ago.
And then battle for the first man out in 5th.
It was between Brett Houck and Zachary Bilson. Brett Houck in driver's points came in. Where is he in the point standings? Let's see. I'm trying to find him. I can't find him. There he is.
17th.
17th in the standings, as he's going to pass Zachary Bilson for 5th place. Remember, you got to be top 4 to make it from the last chance qualifier, not top 6. As KT Larson's going to put a move on Bob Burns for 3rd.
I imagine that 40 should be able to be making it on points so that they can't get top 4.
I believe they should. Lead change at the front, though. Roberto Crown Jr. 2 weeks following a catching accident. Crown is leading the last chance qualifier over Chase Dunbar.
And that Crown, I would say, is a driver who definitely needs some momentum. So if he can get a win here, that should go a long ways for him for the rest of the season.
Even if it's not paying him points, a last chance qualifier win, I mean, it means something because you've got 23 trucks here that are pretty much all mid-packers on back, so You're the best of something in this case if you get this win.
I saw Hauk going for fourth there in the back.
He has taken it over Bob Burns. That is not good for Burns. He is 29th in the driver points, but I believe that team is lower in owners. I'm not sure exactly where they are, but they came into this thing needing to finish top 4, so he's got to try and challenge back on Brett Hauk if he can, but he gets tight there in turn 2. Right now,
losing the spot to 57 next couple laps too.
Yes, indeed. As Christopher Jones is running in 6th place in the last chance qualifier, really dives it in there into turn 1. That's going to open the door, though, for Zachary Bilson. As Aiden Smith and Stuart Grattan are racing side by side. Doesn't look like it's Grattan's night to make that Napa Truck Series debut.
I have no doubts that he'll be able to at some point, though, given the equipment in the CM truck.
It's Aiden Smith there. So I believe right now, looking at where everyone's running, as Brett Hauk's looking for 3rd on KT Larson, I believe it would be the 57, 05, 22, and I want to say the 13 would make it in off of owner points. And that would change. I don't think it would really change who makes it if the 57 were to get up here and pass the 40. I believe the 40 would still get in on owners with where he's at in driver standings, which of course is different from owners, but it's pretty close respectively. But how about this? Roberto Crown Jr. took the lead away. He will lead him to the white flag. And just think what Roberto Crown Jr. is about to do in the last chance qualifier could be Ryan Butcher later tonight in the main event if things go his way. From a nasty impact 2 weeks ago to this last chance qualifier event, Roberto Crown Jr. will get a win. Making the race with him will be Chase Dunbar, KT Larson, and Brett Hauk. And
did what they need to do.
I'm hearing that it is indeed the 05 of Aiden Smith, 57 of Christopher Jones, the 22 of Mitchell Collins, and the 13 of Benny Watson that will advance to the main event with them. Kyle Springer, of course, will have to start in last place due to failing preseason inspection. But Charles, your thoughts on the heat races and the last chance qualifiers tonight after getting to fly over from New Hampshire?
It was interesting to see. I'm trying to think of the right words. I'm excited to see what they can do as a full field. We were able to see quite a few moves. I think passing should be possible, at least in the midfield, even if we don't see it up front.
Well, with that, guys, we'll take a longer break, and we'll see you guys in a certain amount of time for the main event.